Good afternoon to our graduates, to their families and friends, to our faculty and staff, and to our invited guests. I'm Paul Katz, President of University of the Sciences. I'm especially honored to welcome you to our annual Bachelor's Conferment Convocation. Congratulations to each student who will receive a bachelor's degree today. Well done. This is a significant day. Yes, a day which ends an important part of your lives, but today also begins a new and truly exciting phase. I know how disrupted last year and this year have been for you and your families. I appreciate your and your family's resilience, flexibility, and commitment to your education during this most challenging time. The impact that these events will have on you will be lasting. And that does not imply that this impact has to be negative. Perhaps it has reaffirmed your decision to become a health professional. Perhaps it has shown you additional career opportunities that you may choose to explore. Perhaps it is too soon to know the true impact. But as soon-to-be healthcare providers, the constant for you will be change. It's time to tear up the old playbook and imagine what care delivery must and will become now. Not years from now, but now. Your remaining years at USciences will also be like none other in our history, and I know you are experiencing this now during your clinical rotations. Embrace these changes. Become part of them. Help drive the transformations that must occur in healthcare, now more than ever. Issues of health inequity and systemic racism have been inextricably intertwined with the pandemic. I challenge you to make an impact in accelerating the much-needed changes around health equity and social justice. It is incumbent for all members of the healthcare community to pivot to the new normal, whatever that ultimately becomes, and do so now. Through your work and your actions, you have earned the right to receive your bachelor's degree in the professions of physical therapy, occupational therapy, and pharmacy. The past 4 years have provided you with an incredible base upon which you will build the skills and refine the attributes that will allow you to become dedicated health professionals. As you enter the professional phase of your programs and into clinical education and then practice, the importance of professionalism, ethics, and integrity is increasingly significant, as is the continuous pursuit of excellence. Right or wrong, you will be judged on your commitment to these principles every moment of every day. The professions you are entering are noble ones indeed, ones that are critically needed now more than ever, as the past year has demonstrated. In large measure, the health of our citizens for the next decades is in your hands and in the hands of all who now enter the health professions. The contributions you will be asked to make to the health and well-being of others are enormous responsibilities, but also personally rewarding beyond imagination. You will experience this during your upcoming professional education. And yes, more global health challenges will occur, and I know that you will be able to meet them head-on. But today is not just about those of you who are receiving degrees. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the parents, families, loved ones, and friends who are with us today. We realize that the sacrifices you have made and the support you have given your student has been absolutely essential for their success. Your student will need you more than ever, for now is the time when their evolution into healthcare givers begins, with all the privileges, but more importantly, all of the obligations attendant to their profession. I now ask Dr. Jill Barron, Provost, to introduce our keynote speaker.
I am pleased to introduce today's speaker, Dr. James M. Hoffman, Chief Patient Safety Officer and a member of the Pharmaceutical Sciences Department at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. Dr. Hoffman is a graduate of Philadelphia College of Pharmacy, and in his current role provides oversight and leadership for patient safety across St. Jude. His work focuses on refining existing tools and identifying new means of patient safety event detection, assessing and improving patient safety culture, and developing and improving clinical decision support. Dr. Hoffman was a core member of the team that created the St. Jude Safe and Sound Strategic Plan, and he is particularly focused on helping St. Jude become an academic leader in quality, patient safety, and improvement science for children with catastrophic diseases. 2 recent publications in the journal Pediatrics illustrate Dr. Hoffman's academic leadership in the area of improvement science. His publications focus on improving medication alerts at St. Jude and on research priorities for pediatric patient safety. Through work at St. Jude and nationally through the Clinical Pharmacogenetic Implementation Consortium, he is devoted to implementing pharmacogenetics as a patient safety strategy. Dr. Hoffman works to accelerate the implementation of research discoveries in pharmacogenomics into the clinic through the development and dissemination of model practices and clinical practice guidelines. He is truly a leader in developing and refining clinical decision support for pharmacogenomics in electronic health records, together with colleagues from Mayo Clinic and Stanford University. I now invite Dr. Hoffman to address the graduates.
Thank you for the invitation to speak to you. I was really honored when Dean Foote asked me to help recognize this important milestone in your educational and professional journey. As a pharmacist, I've tried to be thoughtful to be sure my remarks apply to all of you, knowing that I'm speaking to students in the pharmacy, physical therapy, and occupational therapy programs. The timing is really remarkable in that I've had a lot of personal interaction with both physical and occupational therapists in recent weeks. I sustained a pretty serious leg injury last month, and I'm undergoing many weeks of physical therapy. I've learned a bit about the physical therapy profession as a patient, and I've heard more than once that motion is lotion. Also, my 7-year-old recently started some occupational therapy. Some days we even do our home exercises together. So while I don't know your professions as I do pharmacy, I've seen firsthand recently the unique expertise and care that physical and occupational therapists provide. I've learned how the conferment ceremony has really developed over the last decade. It's great how the university has established this tradition to recognize your progression towards becoming a healthcare professional. Perhaps many of you are like me, where it can be easy to get busy and lose sight of the progress being made. So it's great that we have these rituals and reminders to pause and reflect on the progress being made and the lessons learned. These occasions are also an opportunity to look ahead. So I've structured my remarks across the themes of reflection and planning your career journey. Of course, I know many of you probably wish this event was live and in person. We certainly live in unique times as the pandemic continues. As a member of the COVID response team at St. Jude, I'm tasked with protecting our patients with cancer and other catastrophic diseases from COVID. I've had many professional experiences I would have never imagined over the last year. And I certainly won't make this a COVID talk. However, the pandemic has made me proud to be in healthcare with the ability to directly respond. I think all of you should feel the same way, proud that you're headed on a journey to help improve individual and population health in a very tangible way. So I encourage you to take this opportunity to reflect. Reflect on how you've reached this point. I won't be prescriptive in any way, as this will look different for each of you. However, the one thing I would suggest is to include gratitude in your reflection. Gratitude for the people who supported you, both directly and indirectly. A lot of times our society values the individual, but our achievements are never only our own. There's always a cast of people who've helped us in large and small ways. So take this chance to do a quick inventory of who's helped you. Find even a small way to show your gratitude for their contributions to your professional success. I'm certain each of you have a range of people who've helped you over the years. Thank them in some way and update them on your progress. The opportunity to speak to all of you has prompted me to reflect on my time at the university and my career since then. First, the old cliche of time flies is certainly true, as it doesn't seem like 20 years has passed since I graduated from the university. Putting that aside, I hope to give you some practical advice to use as you finish and enter practice. First, as you have the opportunity for more clinical experiences, embrace a wide range of opportunities. Take initiative and learn all you can in each experience. As I was completing my PharmD, I was able to construct a wide range of rotation experiences on different topics and areas. Perhaps this was because I had broad interests, but it's proved to be very helpful. Even though my career path has not taken me down many of these areas, all these different experiences served me well. To this day, some of those experiences give me helpful context and perspective for that particular healthcare setting. Second, prepare yourself for lifelong learning. I know this is another phrase that can sound pretty trite. I think when I was in your shoes and I heard this, I probably thought it was being careful to complete your CE on time and maybe do a little extra. Let me tell you how this has worked out for me in my career. Many of the things I've worked on, I knew very little or nothing about during school. However, I developed a foundation that I combined with postgraduate training, and it's enabled me to be part of all different exciting things that help improve patient care and patient safety. A few years ago, I would have told you all about implementing pharmacogenomics as a patient safety strategy and all the progress we've made at St. Jude and really around the world to provide models to use genetic information to guide safe drug therapy. Now today, I can also tell you all about setting up the asymptomatic testing program for COVID, where we've routinely tested everyone coming on the St. Jude campus to protect our patients, their families, and employees. We had the first tests up and running on March 25th, 2020. We found hundreds of asymptomatic people on campus who never had a chance to spread the virus to our patients with cancer, sickle cell, HIV, and other conditions that leave them especially vulnerable to COVID. Now I could go on and on about how exciting it is to be part of implementing pharmacogenomics into patient care, or I could tell you more about our testing program and how it set us up for success with vaccination as a new dimension to keep our patients safe from COVID. But the point really isn't either of these two examples. It's that your career will take you in all sorts of directions you can't even imagine today. This is exciting and part of why it's great to be in healthcare. Embrace the changes that will come your way and look for ways to grow and reinvent yourself every so often. Besides my education and training, the environment at St. Jude has helped me grow and develop in so many ways. I've been able to do all sorts of different things over time. So find such an environment that will support you and your growth. Learn what you're good at and put yourself in a position that matches those strengths. In summary, use this time to reflect and express gratitude. Also, take the chance to think ahead. You're headed on an exciting journey to help people in tangible ways. Embrace this purpose and grow it to meet your strengths. My best wishes to your continued success, and again, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Hoffman, for your motivational and inspiring message. The Philadelphia College of Pharmacy and the Sampson College of Health Sciences have each designated a student speaker to address the graduates. I now call upon Diana Walczyk of the Philadelphia College of Pharmacy.
To all the pharmacy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy students who receive their Bachelor of Health Sciences degree today, congratulations. Although our paths do not typically cross much academically, we share this day, the joy, and sometimes the struggle of being in a 6-year advanced degree program. Balancing classes, e-board positions, organizational involvement, and life in general was no easy task back when we were on campus, and the fact that we completed almost half of this degree in a virtual environment is commendable, deserves special recognition, and makes earning this degree even more worth celebrating. Now, to my fellow pharmacy students. We have come such a long way from stressing about last-minute knowledge checks on ALEX in our U1 year to being fully immersed in therapeutics courses and applying our knowledge to real-world patients on rotations. To put it simply, it's a lot of work, and on top of that, it's hard work. There are a lot of sacrifices that we individuals have to make in the rigorous Doctor of Pharmacy program. Think back to all the times you've had to cancel plans with friends or step away from family time for something school-related. For a lot of us, this is complicated even further by demanding work schedules, whether picking up extra shifts or rather being told you're on the schedule after class and on weekends. Before the pandemic, it was significantly easier to manage our dozens of priorities when we saw our peers and professors in person to motivate us along the way. We were able to celebrate finishing a difficult module, completing a dreaded patient interaction assessment, and simply experience life as college students together. And then March 2020 hit. We had just come back from spring break, finished our mid-semester ESAR, and were told by the university and government offices to go home. The COVID-19 pandemic brought about widespread feelings of anxiety and uncertainty that were soon accompanied by great loss. Life as we knew it was changing so fast, yet our expectations at work and school remained. In fact, the health crisis brought about legislative change to allow pharmacy interns in the state of Pennsylvania to immunize. This historic moment led to the restructuring of the beginning of our spring semester to allow us to receive immunization certificate training almost a year earlier than planned. With this training, our responsibilities on rotation and at work broaden to assist with COVID-19 vaccination efforts. We inherently know that we should be proud of ourselves for everything we accomplished in the past 4 years, both in person and virtually. At the same time, I know that each of us have struggled and felt completely drained at times this year, leading us to downplay this important milestone when we know we should all be celebrating. We have to remind ourselves, today and always, that there is a reason that we decided to pursue pharmacy as our future career. There is a reason we have each continued on this academic journey despite the insanity of U2 year. There is a reason we dedicate full days to studying for exams in the intense therapeutics courses. And very soon, as intimidating as it sounds, there'll be a reason we will decide between postgraduate training or residency or fellowship, or entering the workforce right after earning our PharmD. In short, there is a personal reason behind everything we do that gives us purpose and the motivation to succeed in our academic and professional careers. Recently, I was reminded of my personal motivation. In the midst of studying for our infectious disease module final, my dad had called to tell me that he was admitted to the hospital. For the past 4 years, I have lived in either on or near campus in Philadelphia. My family lives in New York City, and I've been constantly worried about my parents since the start of the pandemic. My mom, Elizabeth, is a middle school teacher and has been tossed between in-person and virtual learning for the past 9 months. And my dad, John, has a chronic lung disease, and I've been extremely nervous about him contracting COVID-19 and the complications that this might lead to. I was relieved to hear that this was not the reason for his hospitalization, and had learned that he had been prescribed several different antibiotics and was going home on 2 of them. Without hesitation or thought, I asked my dad what the name of the drugs were and immediately began counseling him on drug-drug interactions, drug-food interactions, and adverse reactions over the phone. The phone call ended, and I tried to get back to studying, but all I could think about was how inspired and fortunate I felt to counsel my favorite patients, my family, about medications I had just recently learned about. Although this is a unique anecdote, there are several implications that we can all take away from this experience. Even seemingly small moments can provide an abundance of motivation when we need it the most to make the figurative light at the end of the tunnel just a little bit brighter. In addition, we've acquired an incredible breadth and depth of physiological, medicinal, and pharmaceutical knowledge that each of us will continue to apply at work and at our rotation sites. The pandemic has allowed each of our respective fields to establish themselves as a vital force in many different avenues of healthcare, and I'm excited to continue on this professional journey with all of you. Again, congratulations to everyone receiving their conferred Bachelor of Health Sciences degrees today. These well-deserved degrees commemorate everything it took to get here and lay the groundwork for continued success over the next 2 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana. I now call upon Lucas Burkhart of the Sampson College of Health Sciences to address the graduates.
Good day, faculty, administration, students, family, and friends of University of the Sciences. It is an absolute pleasure to be able to speak with all of you on this beautiful day, a day that celebrates the University of the Sciences bicentennial year and its 200th graduating class. My name is Lucas Bradley Burkhart, and I am proud to be able to address all of you today. When I first received the email message from Deborah Zion, the assistant to the dean of Sampson College of Health Sciences, that they wanted me to address you today, several things entered my mind. First, I thought it was a gag. I mean, after all, who would think asking a future physical therapist to address this graduating class and all of the people who have made such a profound impact on our personal, professional, and academic lives would be a smart idea? Second, I laughed to myself that maybe no one else was available, or interested for that matter. And after running down a list of much more qualified speakers than myself, I thought, well, I guess we'll have to ask Lucas then. He's probably available. And lastly, it hit me. The real reason why USciences asked me to do this speech is this. It is because I'm free labor. This university does not have to pay me a single cent for this incredibly entertaining, motivating, and heartfelt speech that I plan to give to you today. Lucky you. Now bear in mind, I do not give speeches like this one every day. The last speech I gave, if you want to call it that, was a 2-minute one that I gave to my parting 8th grade class at Chestnut Ridge Middle School near my South Jersey home. But I remember back then, as I do now, that speeches like these are supposed to impart messages and offer key takeaways that you can consider and use as you go off and pursue whatever it is that you want to pursue. Free lessons that you can use at any time. So here are 3 free messages I will share with you today. Lesson number 1, you get back what you give. When we all came into our first year as students at USciences, we were all the same. We were nervous, anxious, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed kids kickstarting our collegiate endeavors. We joined USciences after our stellar high school careers, where we were big people on campus. Now, we were freshmen. Again, no longer were we big people on any campus. We were new people at a new campus. We also had the pressure of expectations being rained down on us, likely first and foremost by our parents, who are more than likely footing the bills to support our educational pursuits. I remember my dad offering me some clever advice when it came to choosing a major. Since he bought and continues to buy today, I had to give him an opportunity to share his thoughts. His advice was simple. Pick whatever major you want, just pick one where you can get a job where you finish. And for many of us, perhaps, it started there. We chose a major that interested us. For me, it was physical therapy, with a plan and a goal in mind. Add to that some new challenges too, like really, really difficult classes and managing living on our own for the first time. Realizing that stuff costs money and how as college students we never seem to have any of it. We all have new challenges in our lives. Starting a new academic and future professional career is a challenge. But it is those challenges that shape us into who we ultimately become. Hitting roadblocks along the way of our pursuits happens. Having a big picture goal of what utopia looks like is important. Staying centered on the prize, our goals, is critical. But how we overcome these roadblocks is what really defines us. My biggest roadblock after my first year here was in making friends. Making new friends is hard work. Fitting in is important. And for me, after my first year came and went at USciences, I thought about transferring to a school where I might know more people. My grades were good, but I felt like I just didn't fit in here, even though I really wanted to. You can plan things out in your head, how you would like them to go, but I can almost guarantee you that real-life events will never quite play out like you envision they should. While working out one day on campus, a member of the USciences track and field team came up to me at the gym. He asked if I would be interested in becoming a runner, and at first I said no, but he would not take no for an answer. He encouraged me to come out and try out for the team, and reluctantly I did. I figured, why not? How hard could it really be? If anything, it would be a way to make new friends and meet new people. And running at the Division II level sounded kind of cool too. So I joined. And with that for me at USciences, I finally felt like I fit in. I realized that after my freshman year, if I were to survive in anything, it was impacted by what I did to make those things happen. Lesson number 2, take time to smell the flowers. After making it through our freshman year, it is remarkable to think how quickly the time has passed over the past 3 years to where we are today. Bicentennial graduates from the University of the Sciences. Our educational careers are not ending here. You, like me, are now in the busy troughs of attaining our doctorate degrees. Many of us have side jobs to support ourselves and our educational costs. Still more volunteer their time in the region to give back to those who could really use our help, whatever it takes to build our future careers. The bottom line is this, however, we are all crazy busy. The second bottom line, we need to take time to enjoy and celebrate what it is that we accomplish. One of the things that is incredibly important is that we take time to enjoy our achievements. My past 4 years, likely like yours, have been rich in new relationships, both personal and professional. We have made some incredibly new, awesome lifelong contacts, like friends, future colleagues, and mentors. We have forged connections with some truly awesome people, all along the way making new memories that we will never forget. What is better is that we are all just getting started at a monumental new state in our being. Like Frank Sinatra said, the best is yet to come, babe, and won't it be fine? I'm sure we are all excited to see what the future has in store for each one of us, and why we race to get there, to get to our future goals, meet our career objectives, and satisfy those accomplishments after which we are chasing. Be sure to stop along the way and enjoy the process. The world is a marathon, not a sprint, and taking time to savor, to relish the times and moments it took to get to where we are to this day is vitally important. My great-grandfather of 97 years passed away a few months ago because of the COVID-19 pandemic. My papi used to say a lot of things, but the one thing I remember him saying the most is, "You were dead a long time." Take time to smell the flowers. Lesson number 3, get weird. If these pandemic-driven times have taught us anything, it is this. There is a new normal every single day. Change is constant. However, if we plan to keep up with this new normal, these days change everyday era that we now live in, understand this. We must progress with the times. Never be afraid of change. Never be fearful of going outside of yourself, of going outside of your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Push yourself and venture out to do things that you would not normally do. Look at it this way. Do you really think that it was a goal of mine to stand here 4 years after arriving at the University of the Sciences giving a speech to all of you today? Trust me, it was not one of my goals then. Things just kind of happen sometimes, and how we react to them is as important as the things happening themselves. You never know what you are going to encounter in life, but stressing about it will only make it that much worse. Try new things, step outside of your comfort zone, and get a little weird. It might take you off of that straight line path that you think you need to stay on. However, I can assure you this. It sure is a whole lot more fun that way. It also tends to be more rewarding and educational down the line too. So get weird is what it takes to get along in a super weird world. To close, I'll remind you of the 3 lessons that I shared with you today. Lesson 1, you get back what you give. Lesson 2, take time to smell the flowers. And lesson number 3, get weird. I do not know what the future holds, ladies and gentlemen, but I know who holds it. We do. Thank you, and best wishes to everyone who is listening to me today. Stay safe.
Thank you, Lucas. We will now proceed with the presentation of candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree. These candidates have met all requirements for their respective degree, have been recommended by the Faculty Senate, and approved by the Board of Trustees of University of the Sciences. Accordingly, and by virtue of the authority granted this institution and vested in me by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I confer on each candidate the appropriate degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. In testimony thereof, each graduate has earned an official diploma of University of the Sciences in Philadelphia. I now present the following candidates to receive their diplomas.
Philadelphia College of Pharmacy, James Abraham, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Canio Christopher Acosa, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, magna cum laude. Shubh Umbavi, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Brittany Marie Bancroft, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Seema Bhagat, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Urv Bhatt, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Kayla Nicole Carrigan, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Daniel Chaudhary, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Victoria Yunzo Chen, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Rebecca Joan Sino, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude. Gabrielle Cromley, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Dominique Demergen, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Dominic De La Guardia, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in Spanish. Summa cum laude. Coralise Deda, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Thomas Din, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Van An Din, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Sean DiPietropolo, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Kenneth Faber, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Michelle Fishbane, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Business. Kayla Fitzmaurice, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Haley Morgan Fry, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude. Anne Grace George, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude. Sandra George Cuddy, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude. Chloe Georges, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude. Grace Gillespie, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Brian James Giordano, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude. Andrea Glavche, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude. Vikita Gondalia, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude. Andrew Justin Grover, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. William Patrick Hallinan, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, magna cum laude. Sarah Harb, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Jachi He, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Ethan Huynh, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in business. Paige Anderson Jacobs, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Julia Johnson, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Simranjit Kaur, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Quinn Colleen Kelleher, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Ming Kyung Kim, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, magna cum laude. Eben M. Koshi, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Grace Corian, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Rushab D. Lagdiwala, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in marketing. Summa cum laude. Vivian Lamb, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude. Han Nguop Le, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in humanities. Magna cum laude. Myung Hun Lee, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Sonali Limbachea, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Nicole Lin, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Beatrice Lorena, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. AJ C. Ma, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in biology. Juhi Jane Magoo, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Kiara Mendez, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Victoria Notariani, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Scott M. Osler, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Lauren Elizabeth Owusu, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, magna cum laude. Nicole Jade Pancari, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, summa cum laude. Rutvik Pandya, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Clyde Parsons, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, magna cum laude. Dhruv M. Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Dina D. Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, cum laude. Drasti Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in biology, cum laude. Kaylin Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Kishan M. Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Richa Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Sheel Patel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Dennis Fan, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Emily Kristen Powers, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude, Naya Prem Anand, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Laurel Elizabeth Reichert, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude, Lindsay Reggie, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Nancy Reggie, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Christine Rodriguez, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Ryan Anthony Romano, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Taylor Roop, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Neethu Sudji, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in Spanish. Austin Schultz, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Katrina Seidel, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies, with a minor in Spanish. Victoria Shevchik, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Razi Siddiqui, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Tej Singh, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Stanley K. Scaria, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Dahae Sun, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Michaela Staples, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Justin Stephan, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Yoon Soo, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Hagar Mohammed Tawfiq, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude, Paulita Tess, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Lauren K. Torrey, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Emily Marie Torres, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Richard Trott, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Eden Trong, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Charles Ung, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Cum laude, Kathleen McAlintal Villaroma, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude, Diana Rose Walczyk, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude, Meg Yi, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Ashley Yi-San Yim, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Summa cum laude, Connor Young, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude, Ethan Yu, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies. Magna cum laude, Fiona Zhou, Bachelor of Science, Pharmaceutical Healthcare Studies with a minor in Humanities. Samson College of Health Sciences, Physical Therapy. Melissa Abraham, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Flemmy Alex, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Anita Alias, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Nebria Cherise Diana Brown, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, magna cum laude. Lucas Bradley Burkhart, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, summa cum laude. Jared Capoza, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, magna cum laude. Charles Chirical, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Nancy Chopra, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Timothy Kim, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Psychology. Aaliyah Jean Kraus, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, magna cum laude. Vishnavi Kundor, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, magna cum laude. Anne-Marie Curiaco, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Exercise Science and Wellness Management. Cum laude. Howard Lee, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, magna cum laude. Joya Mayali, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Megan Master, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, summa cum laude. David McHale, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Nicholas Molinaro, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Kaya Monsilovich, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Spanish, summa cum laude. Zachary Winfield Moyer, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Business, magna cum laude. Lauren Nicole Palmer, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Ina Patricia R. Perez, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Nicholas Arnell Rivera, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Alexander Rosado, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Spanish, summa cum laude. Jared James Sinahan, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Jenna Marie Snell, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Bryn Solar, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Ryan Ward, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, cum laude. Michelle Yang, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Olivia Mary Zachariah, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Exercise Science and Wellness Management, magna cum laude. Samson College of Health Sciences, Occupational Therapy. Zuleika Alvarado, Bachelor of Science, Health Science, with a minor in Spanish, cum laude. Brianna Marie Bialco, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Andrew Philip Chin, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Bridget C. Grover, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Cassidy Felicia Matthews, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Shannon Marie May, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Cum laude, Nadine Claire Marina, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Magna cum laude, Emily Pasqualetto, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Aditi Shep, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Cum laude, Jenna Williams, Bachelor of Science, Health Science. Magna cum laude.
Congratulations, graduates. We all share with you the great joy of this moment and the sense of satisfaction and achievement in having distinguished yourselves by earning the degrees you have received today. In closing, you have set your goals high, and by earning the bachelor's degree, you have reached a significant milestone on that journey. Make no mistake, there will be difficult challenges ahead, not just in your remaining years at University of the Sciences, but throughout your careers. But you will succeed. You will. As the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. I look forward to your next graduation ceremony and to hearing of your successes over the next few years and after you leave USciences. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day and weekend.
Wonderful. Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations. Good job. Way to go.
Congratulations. You did it. Hey, Megan.
Congratulations. Good job. Hallelujah. Good job. Proud of you. Congratulations. Really good job. We're proud of you. Yay!
Congratulations. Good job, guys.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you did it. Yeah.
So happy for you. Way to go. Great job, guys. Nice work.
Congratulations, class of 21.
Yeah! Congratulations! You did it! Woo! Hey, well done. Hey, congratulations!
Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations! Woo!
Good job. Way to go. Proud of you. Congratulations, graduate.
Good job!
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Hey, congratulations. Good job.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Good job, class of 2021. Best of luck to you in the future.
Congrats to the class of 2021. Got it.
Congratulations, class of 2021.
Class of 2021.